Hello everybody, here doing my review of The Walking Dead, Season 6, Episode 10, titled The Next World. Okay, so this one went pretty much how I expected it to in regards to Jesus, or as he's known so far by his real name in the show, Paul Robia, which I am not going to spoil comic book details other than the fact that he is a badass character, and I am looking forward to finding out more about the TV show version. He does have a different name in the comics. I don't know if they're changing it for the show or if he is not being completely honest about his name to protect himself. We don't know. We need to remember the governor didn't tell anybody his real name for the most part. It took him a while to tell Andrea, but then he seemed to tell he gave a fake name to Tara Lily. Different story. So Jesus shows up, and then it was a very comical type episode with Rick and Daryl just chasing him around. Like Rick's trying to ask him the three questions. Daryl's like, "No, just leave it." Then he steals their truck. Then after they catch up to him, he somehow managed to get up on the roof. They leave him tied up, and in that short amount of time, we're to expect that he got untied that fast and climbed up onto the roof in that amount of time. I don't know. I find it hard to believe. But it's a show. Look past it. Whatever. So they discover he's on the roof, and and a brick breaks, goes flying off the roof, and then he runs in and they start chasing him, which is just idiotic. And I've seen a lot of the Benny Hill videos on YouTube. It's just hysterical. Pathetic, really, but hysterical. Watching Daryl run around the field after him, Rick trying to maneuver around in that truck, which is an impossible feat in and of itself. Just let him go. Like, honestly, chasing after him, what did that get you? Yeah, you caught him, finally, but you lost the food. You lost all the food doing so. All the supplies done, gone. Could at least had that back at Alexandria and then maybe dealt with him. He wasn't trying to kill him. He wasn't trying to hurt them. He only got physical and beat up on them after Rick grabbed him. So, I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing more about that. Then I will touch base more on the Rishon situation that happened at the end of the episode. Later on, I'm just going to go over some other minor points first. The two requests from Eugene and Denise were particularly funny. Eugene's, wants everything to be hunky dory, looking for that specific grain that they could not acquire, and Denise wants soda for Tara. And Daryl found Art's crush, but got crushed when Jesus slammed Daryl into the truck. So that was a particularly funny moment. There was a time skip in this episode of 2 months, which I like, honestly, because I want to see how they got over No Way Out initially, but seeing this time skip allows us to push forward, and it's new. Whereas in previous seasons, there weren't too many time skips of that amount of time. But we saw Carl was healing rather nicely, working on some PT with the tennis ball. Seems like everybody was pitching in, getting things back to normal. And then we have, Carl and Enid are in the woods. Carl's reading an Invincible comic, which is another Robert Kirkman creation. Then we had Michonne and Spencer. Spencer was walking in the woods with a shovel. Michonne went followed him. He's going after Deanna. He thought he saw her, which that whole thing makes no sense. Okay, in the end of episode 8, the mid-season finale, she was devoured. No way in heck would she have been walking around like that. I don't know how she even got out of Alexandria to begin with. But, whatever, it was for an emotional scene, so I overlook things like that. It was for an emotional scene with her and Spencer putting her down, finally getting some closure. But she didn't shoot herself. She just shot a few walkers, and then she was swarmed. It is possible that she died very early on in that onslaught, and then she turned pretty fast, and the walkers didn't have a chance to fully devour her, and she got past everybody somehow. We've already seen walkers at night in Alexandria that kind of go unseen. The one that attacked Deanna and back in season 5. No, when it wasn't season 5. I think it was season 6. Yeah, it was season 6 because it was it was one of the wolves who Carol shot, and he died, and he crawled underneath the house or something and turned, and then went after Deanna. Barely saw him, so it's moderately, it's somewhat possible, but unlikely still. Okay, so we have that. I talked about the chase scene, and now Carl being all. First of all, Carl should have explained himself to Enid instead of being like, get out, go. And like, we can't kill her. Just say it should be somebody who loves her. Because they knew Spencer was out there, so I'm going to leave it to Spencer so Spencer can do it. Simple enough explanation. City gets all snippy at her and tells her to go. I thought that was unnecessary, but no, it's a story, and he is Carl, he's going through a lot, and Enid can be a bit moody and weird at times, so whatever. So there was that. Okay, I think the last thing I had to talk about is Michonne. Okay, so I called Rick and Michonne back in season 3. In the season 3 finale, when Rick is talking to her, they're having alone time in the prison about how Carl made the call that she's one of them, and that Rick said, if you didn't have the baby formula, But then Michonne replied, "You could have just taken the formula. You didn't have to, you didn't have to save me." Then Rick said, "Must have been something else then." And at that moment, I noticed he gave her a little once over. He looked her up and down, and then looked away like he got caught. So I'm like, something's going on there. And the two since then have had chemistry. And even prior to that, they had the Clear episode with the three of them kind of bonded. She bonded with Carl, by helping him get the picture, excuse me, of his family. So that Judith could see what his mom looked, what her mom looked like. So they've had a very strong connection, and she loves Carl, So that happened. That was a good moment. I'm happy about that. Because in the comic books, Andrea's still alive and Rick is with Andrea. But Andrea's not in the show anymore because they decided to ruin her character. That's my opinion and most people's. I understand why Andrea did what she did, but it did not serve the character and it became stupid. But it seems now what they're doing, they're dividing Andrea's character up into two people. Those people would, what I feel are Michonne and Sasha. Sasha is in the comic books, once they're at Alexandria, and even before that at the prison, Andrea is the sharpshooter, We only saw a taste of that in the show when she shot Daryl. That's the only time she's ever been in that sharpshooter type position in the show, but excuse me. In the show now, Sasha is the sharpshooter slash lookout in the tower, but she's not with Rick. This scene was shown to be with Rick, so I don't know. Like I said, I like the direction. I like that Sasha kind of changed for the better now. You know, I like Rick and Michonne. And then she just shuts up. Just like, we need to talk. And then they just dart up, you know. Clothes off, ready to go. So, we'll see what happens in tomorrow's episode. And then I will have my predictions up for tomorrow's episode up shortly after this. But before I end this video, I have to make the Walker Kill of the week. It has to be Spencer and Deanna. You know, finally brought closure to that whole thing. I predicted we would see Walker Deanna at some point, and we did. So that was good. Top 5 moments: Walker Deanna, number 5; Chase Scene, number 4; Carl Needed, number 3; Michonne, number 2; and Jesus, number 1. Rating: give it a 9. Just because of the goofiness and detracting from some of it, but that's going to be it for this video, and I will see you guys in the predictions video later on. Peace.